everyone.
Welcome to That's Peculiar. I'm Nathan.
I'm Andra.
And I have an episode for you today.
Yay.
So, fun fact is that on any given day, about 9,700 planes are in the sky over the United States at the same time.
9,700.
So 9,700.
Yeah, just over the United States.
Yes.
Wow.
Uh-huh. That's a lot.
Yeah. And you're often in one of them.
I am often in one of them. And very
funny.
much so. Okay, so staying in that same vein, we are actually talking about a plane incident that happened.
Oh, no.
Uh-huh.
How are you so comfortable talking about these?
Because even though like things are like happen in airplanes, it's still like the safest way to travel.
Yeah. Still, it would freak me out.
I mean, it concerns me occasionally, depending on the situation, but really I'm just kind of like hazard of the job, and that's what I'm trained for. So
still.
So the following episode contains real events, unresolved mysteries, and a fair bit of speculation. While all efforts have been made to source accurate information, the case you're about to hear includes missing persons, international investigation, and theories that range from the logical to the conspiratorial. And just remember, just because it's unresolved doesn't mean it's not important. Okay? So, on the evening of May 25th, 2003, a Boeing 727 rolled onto the tarmac of Quattro de Fevereiro. My turn to struggle with pronunciation.
Yeah.
As Boeing 727 rolled onto the tarmac of Quattro de Fevereiro Airport in Luanda, Angola. It wasn't on the departure schedule. It had no flight plan, no transponder, and no clearance from air traffic control. But it moved anyway. It taxied clumsily toward the runway. Witnesses say it looked like the pilot wasn't even sure what he was doing. The lights were off, and the tower tried to radio in, but the cockpit was silent. The plane accelerated, took off into the darkening sky, and was never seen again. This is the story of Ghost Flight 727, a $14 million aircraft that vanished into thin air, and the two men who vanished with it. No bodies, no debris, no radar, no answers, and no shortage of theories.
I don't even feel like I've ever heard about this.
I had never heard about it either, so I was like,
okay, good. I was like, is this a movie or something?
It's the strangest thing. I was like, why have I not heard about the plane that disappeared in 2003?
So you were saying that, and I was waiting for, like, which crash is it? And then you said the Boeing, and I was like, okay.
Yeah.
And then I was sitting here, and I was like, ghost plane. I don't know.
They never found it again. Okay.
That's wily.
So we're going to start with the plane itself. It wasn't new. It wasn't fresh by any means. It was a Boeing 727, which was originally delivered to American Airlines in 1975 and was registered as 844AA. After nearly 3 decades in commercial use, it had been retired and sold to a Miami-based company called Aerospace Sales and Leasing, run by a man named Maury Joseph. The plane had been stripped of its passenger seats and reconfigured to carry fuel for delivery jobs across Africa.
Okay.
So it wasn't flying tourists anymore. It was just a big flying gas tank. So it was parked at the Luanda International Airport, one of Angola's busiest airports, and one of the most chaotic due in part to the country's recent civil war. It had been sitting idle for over a year, allegedly racking up $4 million in unpaid airport fees.
Oh, boy.
It's insane. Like landing fees and storage fees. Like
$4 million in unpaid?
Yeah, it's insane. I could be wrong. This might just be rumor, but I had heard that some airports won't let Trump land at certain their airports because he has so many unpaid fees for them. Like he's
Hmm.
no longer welcome to land there.
I mean, if the shoe fits, if it checks out, you know?
I'm like, well, I mean that makes sense.
Yeah. I
Anyway,
mean, could be rumored, but it could also make sense.
it
So,
makes sense in my mind.
mhm,
So the 727 had undergone some maintenance work and engine tests, but according to the Federal Aviation Administration, the FAA, it was considered it was not considered airworthy at the time of its disappearance. It had no updated flight certifications. Its transponder, which is the device that broadcasts the aircraft's position to air traffic control, that
mhm.
wasn't functioning.
Okay.
And even though it wasn't deemed airworthy and it didn't have a transponder, it shouldn't have flown, but it
Right.
flew. But it flew.
Right.
Yeah. So one of the things that is required to be like in on the plane at all times is its like airworthiness certificate. And so if it doesn't have that, it shouldn't fly.
Right.
Legally. So that's what brings us to the critical mystery of all. So Ben Charles Padilla was a licensed private pilot, a flight engineer, and an aircraft mechanic. Based out of Florida, he was contracted to oversee maintenance on the aircraft and to train a local Angolan crew. So he was not certified to fly a 727 solo, and he
Uh-huh.
didn't have a co-pilot with the appropriate credentials either. So why was he on that plane?
And they're positive he was on that plane,
He was the one that was contracted to work on it, yes.
but I just mean like because there's no bodies found.
The plane's gone too. They have no idea.
Yeah. So
They just
how did
have the
they?
because there's the paper trail of who did the hiring, who was getting paid.
What
Everything's
if
very, very strict when it
two
comes to.
randos? But what if two randos took the plane and this guy was often dumped in the river?
Oh, like they opened the door and just like dumped him, or they killed him, dumped him in the river, and then took the plane.
Killed him, dumped him in the river, took the plane.
Okay, well, how do they? You have to have some knowledge of how to fly a plane to fly a plane.
Right. But people can take, like Brenda knows how to fly
Brenda.
a plane.
Yeah,
If Brenda can learn how to fly a plane, a lot of people can learn how to fly a plane.
that's true, but I wouldn't say Brenda's an idiot.
No, Brenda's not. That's not what I'm implying. I just mean, like, it's not the hardest to go learn, to sign up and learn how to fly planes.
I have people who literally, when they're getting on the plane, they'll be like, "Hey, I have this many hours of what is that flight simulator on
Yeah.
Microsoft? If you need
I mean,
anything, I'm back
you're,
here."
you're like, great.
I'm so glad you know how to fly a fake plane.
A simulated
Yeah,
plane. I can't believe people actually have the audacity to say that.
they say it unironically.
How do you reply to that?
I say, "Okay," and I just let them go.
I'll look for your seat. And that's the last one I'm coming to if I need anything.
Gratefully, I haven't had any issues like that before, so.
Oh man. Well yeah, so I'm just saying like how just because he was contracted to work on this plane, why does it mean that he was the one flying it?
I mean, it's just speculation at this point still because they really don't have proof. But if
Yeah.
he goes missing, he was last seen working on the plane. He was contracted to do it,
And he
right?
had been doing it for how long?
It didn't say how long that he had been working on it. It's just that he was supposed to be um teaching a new crew how to fly it,
Okay. Okay.
even though and fixing it, I guess. Okay.
Okay.
So, according to his family, Benjamin Padilla was a well liked, smart, and highly skilled technician. And his sister Benita Padilla Kirkland later told reporters he was hired to work on the plane, not fly it. He wasn't capable of doing it alone, and he wasn't suicidal. If he's alive, someone's holding him.
Mm-hmm.
The last confirmed sighting of Ben was around 5 p.m. local time on May 25th, when he had another man, John Mutantu, a Congolese assistant, were seen climbing aboard the jet. After they were seen boarding the jet, shortly after that, the engines roared to life.
Okay.
Witnesses. How far away were they? We don't know.
Right.
So what happened next reads kind of like a spy thriller or a really low budget movie script. So with
Ooh.
no clearance, the 727 began taxiing toward the runway. Airport officials described the movement as erratic, as if the
Mhm.
person at the controls was unfamiliar with the cockpit. The plane had no lights, no transponder signal, and no radio contact. At 5:55 p.m., it turned onto the main runway and accelerated. By the
Mhm.
time air traffic control realized what was happening, it was too late. The plane lifted off, banked left over the Atlantic Ocean, and disappeared from radar. And that was the last time it was seen. Not on satellite, not by radar, not even visually, just gone.
That is wild.
It's 2003. How is that? How does that happen?
It's also 2003. Where was the report of the why? Because I've heard of other plane crashes and stuff. Like there was
Mhm,
one in Hawaii
mhm.
that also nobody heard about. And it's just so strange to me.
Well, I want to know, like, why didn't they scramble any kind of other jet to like follow them or
Yeah.
something? They were just like,
Or
bye, good luck to
see
ya.
you later. I hope you don't land. What were they I just don't even understand.
I'm also curious how much fuel was on board because how far did they plan on going?
Wasn't it previously a fuel plane, essentially?
Well, they filled it with containers of fuel, but you can't refuel a plane mid-flight like that.
Right.
I don't know. It's just weird. It's so weird. I have lots of questions.
I just mean, like, I wonder if they filled the plane before
Maybe,
it took off. But
potentially. But this is the interesting part is that this was just 18 months after the 9/11 attacks, and the idea of a rogue commercial jet disappearing from a major African airport was
yeah,
more than suspicious. It was
super scary.
potentially catastrophic, which is
Right.
why I'm still confused how they couldn't find the plane.
Yeah. Or why they didn't,
Send something, someone,
yeah,
another aircraft.
go after
Follow that.
them. Yeah.
Follow that plane.
It's also like the sister said, I don't know how long this guy was working on the plane, but it doesn't really sound like he needed to like take off with it. He didn't have the $4 million unpaid fee. He was just hired to work on it. So it just seems so
What do you
strange.
think? What do you think the guy that he had on board with him, John Mutantu, was to blame? Think he's holding him hostage and making him try to fly the plane?
Who is John Mutantu? How
That
much information?
was that was the Congolese
Less.
assistant, and
Yeah,
those are the two that were last seen, quote unquote, by witnesses getting on the 727 before takeoff.
that's all you know about him, though, is what I mean.
Yeah, he was just the assistant.
Yeah. Um, no. I wonder if they're both dead. It just seems so bizarre to me that that would even happen. What are the theories?
What are the
Is that where we're
theories?
headed? Yeah.
No, I still have more information to share first. We'll
Oh,
get to the
okay.
theories.
Okay.
So that's why it was so interesting that I had never heard of it because the world apparently was paying close attention and the US government responded with force. The FBI, CIA, the Department of Homeland Security, they all launched investigations apparently. The FAA issued a bulletin warning, the FAA issued a bulletin warning airlines to be on the lookout for the missing plane. The US
Right.
military reportedly monitored known terror groups and airstrips across Africa and the Middle East for any signs of activity, but they all found nothing.
Right.
There was no distress call, no satellite imagery, no oil slick,
Yeah,
nothing
that's
on
what's
sonar.
throwing me off. So, like, did they go into the Bermuda Triangle? Like, what the heck happened to these people?
Yeah, they just disappeared into the middle of nowhere. Like there's no ransom demand. And that's the thing is the plane never showed up in any black market resale records,
Yeah,
where aircraft parts often go after being stolen or repainted.
sorry. Yeah,
So we're always like, what?
right.
Okay. So fully loaded. We're moving on to theories now. Okay. So
Okay,
just really quickly, refresh. A fully loaded Boeing 727 took off from Angola without permission. It disappears without a trace. Two men are presumed on board because, again, witnesses saw them, quote unquote. And within
right.
hours, it becomes an international incident. And there's no information, so of course, everybody has a theory.
Yeah, including me.
So, theory number one, the simplest and most plausible theory, obviously, is it crashed.
Right,
So the facts would be that the plane had not been properly maintained, hence the maintenance issues and why Ben was there. Its
right.
avionics systems were questionable. There was no confirmed flight plan, weather forecast, or known destination. And most crucially, of course, is that if Ben was piloting, he was not rated to fly a 727 solo, especially without a co-pilot or tower support.
Yes.
A 727 requires multiple crew members to handle systems, navigation, and communications. If Padilla did take off, he may have lost control shortly after and crashed into the South Atlantic Ocean. But again, no debris has ever been found.
Mm-hmm.
No bodies, no nothing. And aircraft debris has a way of turning up eventually, but it just didn't happen.
Yeah, it just seems also wild. If people are watching this, somebody would have been sort of looking out for that. I don't, yeah, all right.
Well, I mean, the FAA put out the look for this plane.
Yeah,
No hits, nothing. So that's the theory. That brings us to theory number two, which is that the plane was stolen and repainted. The black market for aircraft parts is real, especially in regions like West Africa, where
mm-hmm.
records are incomplete and safety standards vary.
Right,
The 727, retrofitted as a fuel hauler, could have been attractive to smugglers, arms dealers, or drug cartels, particularly those operating in the triangle between Angola, Nigeria, and the Congo.
right.
So
That's what I believe.
there's speculation that Padilla may have been tricked into prepping the plane for an unknown buyer and then coerced into, or worse, flying it.
Right.
Which I could see them being like, "Oh, we're hiring you to do this, JK. Now that you're done, we're kidnapping you, but you have to fly the plane."
Yeah, I could see that.
In 2003, the Washington Post quoted an unnamed intelligence resource stating, "It's not that hard to repaint a jet in a few days and register it under a false flag. And in some parts of Africa, no one's asking questions." But again, no such plane matching the specs of that plane have ever turned up. And international aviation authorities keep tabs on resale records, tail numbers, and maintenance logs. So if someone did repurpose it, they knew how to cover their tracks
Right.
very well.
Which doesn't mean that they didn't.
It doesn't mean that they didn't, but that's like they're if things are being tracked, like I don't know, I don't know how it works to track like planes like that are being resold on the black market and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But you would have to like your car has a VIN number. I'm pretty sure that they have numbers somewhere that they can look at and figure out what the plane is. You know what I mean?
Right.
I
Yeah,
don't know.
no, I understand what you're saying and like part numbers, I think, and stuff like that for bits of the plane, but it still is like, I don't know, if this person went through all of that to steal a plane, repaint it, take it, this person probably knows what they're doing.
Probably. it's so weird. And
Yeah.
yeah. So theory number 3 is the terror threat. So 2003 was the peak of the post 9/11 paranoia. So a
Hmm.
missing fuel hauling jet headed west from Africa sets off major alarm bells. The CIA suspected terrorism, possibly an aircraft being loaded with explosives for a later attack. US forces stationed in nearby countries were alerted. Airports in Europe and the US were told to monitor for any unexpected 727s.
Right.
Some even feared it could be used as a flying bomb, like a repeat of 9/11, but on foreign soil. But nothing happened. No attacks, no claims, no sightings.
Wasn't there, I don't know this for a fact 'cause I was like 7 when that happened. Wasn't there other like attempted attacks that happened
In the US,
somewhere in the world at that time? Yeah, in a
I
plane.
I don't recall, but
Uh,
this is 2003, which was 18 months after 9/11.
Yeah, I feel like there was like another, they found out later about it, but I feel like there was another attempted attack that just like never, something didn't happen with it. Or that's just in like some movie and I'm claiming it's real. I don't know. I feel like I've heard that before.
Yeah, I don't know.
Hmm.
Honestly, yeah.
We were young.
And now, yeah, I was very young. And
Hmm.
then there are different whispers. Some conspiracy theorists believe that the jet may have been involved in a covert U.S. intelligence operation. The idea was that it was taken deliberately by agents or contracted operatives for an undisclosed mission, possibly involving surveillance, smuggling stings, or even false flag planning. But there's zero concrete proof of this. Also, that wouldn't make sense because if the people who took the plane knew what they were doing, they wouldn't be driving erratically.
Most likely. Yeah.
So that one, I don't believe that one. So, but I'm going to add fuel to the fire for this theory. But according to declassified documents from the Freedom of Information Act, the U.S. government made over 35 separate inquiries about the missing plane in the months following its disappearance, which is far more than they typically invest in a missing aircraft outside of American territory.
Right. But this is also right around 9/11. So
Yeah. So of course there probably piques more interest.
they're kind of like, where is that fucker?
We need to know.
Yeah.
Safety is our
Is New York
priority.
okay? Washington, D.C.
But the trail went cold. So, and a lot of the documents are heavily redacted and other heavily redacted. I cannot talk. And others just say no further action taken.
Right.
So those are some theories. But then Ben Padilla's family has never given up. His sister has long maintained that her brother was not flying that plane willingly, saying,
Right.
quote, Ben was a mechanic, not a thief, as she told NBC in 2004. He was a
Hmm.
patriot. If he's gone, it's because someone made him go. So the family even hired private investigators and reached out to contacts across Africa. At one point, a rumor did surface that Padilla had been sighted in Guinea alive but held by a smuggling ring, and the report was never verified.
Interesting.
Yeah. In 2010, Ben's elderly father told the Florida Sun Sentinel that, quote, he's either dead or he's been forced into a life he didn't choose, but he didn't
Right.
steal a plane. That's not who he was. And to this day, Ben Padilla is still not declared legally dead.
And my gut, I just like from immediately, I was like, I don't feel like this guy did it. Trust what you want, but I don't know. It just doesn't seem like something that would even need to be done on his part. Like, why would he care about taking off with this plane?
Well, that's what he could have been held under duress. Like they
Yeah,
could
no,
have.
I think he was, if he even was still alive when he flew the plane. Because
Yeah.
he might need a co-pilot, but he might be certified enough to at least take off. Why would he drive sporadically?
I mean, if you're not used to driving that's like if I was driving a little itty bitty Cessna and then they put me behind the wheel of a Boeing 787, I would be like, I don't know what I'm doing.
I don't know what words those were, but I think I understand. It's like me
A little
driving a
two-seater plane,
minivan, me
driving
driving a minivan and then getting behind a
a
Tesla
big
where you
rig,
don't even have to press the right.
a big rig.
No, do you know how confusing it is to drive a Tesla?
No.
The pedals are different. The car
How?
tries to drive itself.
How are the pedals different?
There's like 3 pedals.
What?
Yeah, I think, or there's just one pedal. I can't remember, but there's like, I haven't driven one since 3 years ago,
Oh, you
but yeah,
drove one?
yeah, but the pedals are different. And then there's no like, it's weird. And then to stop, you don't want to press on the brake right away. You actually like the car will naturally slow down by itself. And if you press on the brake, it like, yeah,
You fly through the windshield?
yeah. I was driving somebody, Josh, drunk in the back of his own car. He's all like this, flying. And I was like, come on, you're being dramatic. Like,
That's
it is
funny.
pretty funny, but yeah.
So, as of 2025, the plane is still missing. The aircraft's tail number still remains on watch lists, though it hasn't pinged on any system in over 20 years. You can find the case file under aviation incidents by the FAA, but no new leads have emerged, no new wreckage, and no answers. A fully grown jetliner, a $14 million, 153-foot flying machine, disappeared without a
Hmm.
trace.
Yeah. What do you believe?
You know, I kind of, it's weird. Like, I kind of want it just to be like, I want it to be an escape story. Like, Ben Padilla was just over it, and so he just wanted to fly somewhere and never be found again. But the fact that we have so much of Earth is like discovered land, like how does it just disappear? Like, I feel like it would have come up somewhere. So
Right.
if they did fly onto the middle of the ocean, they probably crashed in some remote location that we don't really look at.
But if they're still there, like Survivor,
I don't think so. It's been 20 years.
I don't know. So I'm also wondering, just in my mind, like, I bet word got out that that plane was just sitting there.
Well, I was saying that because had maintenance issues and needed to be worked on.
Yeah, but I bet that was like known. And then that
Yeah.
someone was coming to work on it. So I believe the second theory that possibly it was stolen, whether he was in it or not.
Okay, but why did it go missing? What do you think happened to it then?
Somebody knew what they were doing.
So you think that it actually got like sold
Yeah.
off or pieced out,
Or they still have the plane.
or they still have the plane?
Right. Like, why, if they go through all that trouble to steal a plane, why would they sell it?
I don't know. Good
Maybe
question.
they still have it and it's still there. Or one day the crash will come up to the surface.
Maybe. Okay, well, listeners, what are your theories? What do you think happened?
Let us know.
And Oz, if you enjoyed this mystery, please make sure to leave a review, share with your friend. You know. And what else do you think we should dig into? Send it our way. You can find us.
Ooh, suggestions.
Yeah, you can find us on Instagram. What's our handle?
I think it's just That's Peculiar Pod.
That's Peculiar Pod.
Yeah.
Perfect. That's where you can find us on Instagram.
We need to get that down.
Yeah.
But we will try to start linking that for people that are interested. I feel like should probably add more show notes than what we do, but I mean,
hey, we're in the basics. We're still learning how to make good things happen regularly.
Yeah. Yeah, speaking of more technical difficulties.
Yeah, you've noticed last week you didn't have an episode because I was having issues with the sound didn't work. But
Actually, we think probably the program was having issues. This time it may not have actually been us.
we don't know. But anyway, thank you for joining us this week on That's Peculiar. We'll talk to you later. Bye.
Bye.